I dismissed him. That's the part that still keeps me up at night. He sat down next to me on the train, this friendly stranger who just wanted to talk, and I put my headphones in and pretended I didn't hear him. I had no idea I was ignoring the person I'd been looking for my entire life. My name is Clea. I'm 38 now, but this story starts when I was 26, and absolutely certain I had life figured out. I was living in Chicago, working as a marketing coordinator for a consulting firm. Nothing glamorous, but it paid the bills. My routine was sacred. Wake up at 6:15, catch the 7:32 Red Line train from Belmont to the Loop, earbuds in, audiobook playing, eyes on my phone. I didn't talk to strangers. I barely looked up. That train ride was my time. 37 minutes of peace before the chaos of the office. I'd perfected the art of being invisible in a crowded train car, shoulders slightly hunched, phone tilted just so, face arranged in that universal, don't talk to me expression. I wasn't lonely. At least I told myself I wasn't. I had friends, I dated occasionally. I was fine. You know that kind of fine where you're not unhappy, but you're not really anything else either. That was me in 2013. It was a Tuesday in March. One of those early spring mornings where winter hasn't quite let go yet, cold enough that your breath still fogs, but the sun is out, promising warmer days ahead. I got on the train at my usual time. It was moderately crowded, the way it always was on weekday mornings. I found a seat by the window, pulled out my phone, started my audiobook, and then someone sat down next to me. Beautiful morning, isn't it? I heard him, but I didn't respond. I just turned up my audiobook a little louder and kept my eyes on my phone. Universal sign for not interested. He tried again. Sorry, I don't mean to bother you. I'm new to Chicago, and I have no idea if I'm on the right train. Does this go to Jackson? I finally looked up, and that's when I saw him for the first time. He was about my age, maybe a year or two older. Dark hair that was slightly too long, like he'd been meaning to get a haircut for weeks. Brown eyes that had this warmth to them. He was wearing a grey jacket over a wrinkled button-down shirt, and he had this tentative smile, like he was fully prepared for me to ignore him but was hoping I wouldn't. Yeah, I said flatly, Jackson's in 4 stops. Oh, perfect, thanks. He smiled wider, relieved. First day at a new job. Probably should have mapped this out better, but I'm terrible with directions and... I put my earbuds back in. I cut him off, mid-sentence, turned back to my phone like he'd stopped existing. I saw his expression change in my peripheral vision. The smile faded. He nodded to himself like, okay, got it, and he pulled out his own phone and didn't say another word. 4 stops later, he got off at Jackson. I watched him go, watched him navigate through the crowded platform, looking a little lost, checking his phone for directions. And then the train doors closed, and he was gone. I didn't think about him again, not for years. Life went on. That's the thing about these moments. You don't know they're important when they're happening. They just feel like, Tuesday, another commute, another stranger. I kept taking that same train every morning. Same seat, same audiobook routine, same carefully constructed invisibility. The seasons changed, spring turned to summer, summer to fall. I dated a guy from my office for a few months. It didn't work out. I got a promotion, lost a promotion. My best friend moved to Seattle. The years passed the way they do when you're in your 20s, quickly, but also like you have all the time in the world, like the important things can wait. I turned 30, then 32, then 35. And somewhere along the way, I started to realize that fine wasn't actually fine anymore, that the dating apps weren't working, that every relationship I tried to build felt like I was forcing pieces together that didn't quite fit. I'd go on dates and feel nothing, or I'd feel something and it would fizzle out in weeks. My mom would call and ask if I was seeing anyone. I'm working on it, I'd say, but the truth was I was tired of working on it. I started to wonder if maybe I'd missed something, if maybe there was a moment, some turning point, where I'd made the wrong choice and didn't realize it until years later when it was too late to go back. You ever feel like that, like life is happening but you're somehow not in it, like you're waiting for something but you don't know what? Then came January of last year, 2024. I was 37, newly single after another relationship that went nowhere, and I'd started going to therapy. My therapist, wonderful woman named Dr. Patel, she asked me one day, Clea, when you picture your life 5 years from now, what do you see? And I realized I didn't see anything. It was just blank. Maybe, she said gently, you need to start saying yes to things that scare you. So I did something I hadn't done in years. I started looking up from my phone on the train, started noticing the people around me. started saying good morning to the regulars I'd been ignoring for over a decade. It felt awkward at first, vulnerable, but also kind of nice. One morning in February, almost exactly 11 years after that Tuesday in March, I was on my usual train. Different job now, but same route, same red line from Belmont to the Loop. The train was more crowded than usual. I was standing, holding the pole, when someone bumped into me as we lurched forward. "Oh, sorry." I looked up and my breath caught. It was him. The stranger from the train, the one I dismissed 11 years ago. Older now, the hair shorter, more grey at the temples, lines around his eyes that hadn't been there before, but unmistakably him. Same warm brown eyes, same apologetic smile. "No worries," I managed to say. He didn't recognize me. Why would he? It had been 11 years, and I'd barely spoken to him. I was just another commuter who'd ignored him one Tuesday morning in 2013. But I recognized him, and something about seeing him again, after all those years, after all those failed relationships, after all that time wondering if I'd missed something important. It felt like the universe was giving me a second chance. "Hey," I said before I could talk myself out of it. "I know this is random, but do you take this train often?" He looked surprised. "Yeah, actually, every morning, well, most mornings have for a few years now," he smiled. "Why?" I hesitated. This was going to sound insane. "I think we met before, a long time ago. You asked me if this train went to Jackson." His eyes widened. Wait, that was like 11 years ago, I finished. March 2013, your first day at a new job. He stared at me. "You remember that?" "I do now." I took a breath. "And I'm sorry. You were trying to be friendly and I was rude. I put my headphones back in and ignored you." For a moment he didn't say anything. Then he laughed, not meanly, but with genuine surprise. "I remember that," I thought. Okay, note to self. Chicago people don't do small talk on trains. "It wasn't you," I said. "It was me. I don't know, closed off. Scared of connection, maybe, I don't know. But I've thought about that morning more than you'd think, and I wanted to say I'm sorry." The train slowed as we approached Jackson, his stop, probably. Same stop as 11 years ago. He looked at the doors, then back at me, and he made a choice. "I'm Daniel," he said, not moving toward the doors. Claire, would you want to grab coffee sometime? Like, an actual conversation, no headphones." I smiled. The train doors closed. Jackson Station disappeared behind us. "I'd really like that." We got coffee that weekend. A little place in Wicker Park, all exposed brick and mismatched furniture. We talked for 4 hours. And here's the thing. Here's the part that still makes me feel like the universe has a sense of humor. We'd been living parallel lives for 11 years. Daniel had moved to Chicago in 2013 for that job, tech startup, software development. He'd been in a serious relationship at the time, engaged actually, but it fell apart a year later. He'd tried dating after that, but nothing stuck. He'd had the same feeling I had, like he was waiting for something but didn't know what. We'd both been taking the same train, same route for years. How many times had we been in the same car and never noticed each other? How many mornings had we stood 3 feet apart, both staring at our phones, both feeling that same vague sense that something was missing? "I thought about you sometimes," he admitted over our second cup of coffee. "That woman on the train who shut me down. I told myself you were probably in a relationship, or having a bad day, or just not interested." He smiled. "Never thought I'd actually see you again." "I didn't think about you," I said honestly. "Not for years, but when I started therapy, when I started trying to figure out why none of my relationships worked, I kept coming back to this question. What did I miss? What moment did I let slip by because I was too scared or too distracted?" "And you thought of that morning?" Eventually, I looked at him. "Daniel, can I ask you something? When you sat next to me that day, why did you keep trying? Most people would have given up after the first brush-off." He thought about it. "I don't know, I guess. You seemed sad. I remember thinking that. Not angry or mean, just sad, like you were carrying something heavy. I thought maybe you needed someone to talk to." I felt tears prick my eyes, because he was right. I had been sad. I'd been sad for years and hadn't even realized it. I'd called it fine and busy and focused on my career, but really, I'd been lonely. I'd been waiting for connection and actively pushing it away at the same time. We started seeing each other regularly after that. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into long walks along the lakefront. Walks turned into weekends together. And it was easy. It was the easiest thing I'd ever done. Everything I'd been searching for in all those failed relationships. The connection, the understanding, the feeling of being seen, it was all there. Like we'd been heading toward each other for 11 years and finally found our way. 3 months in, we were lying on his couch one Sunday morning, and he said, "I think you were supposed to ignore me that day." What? On the train in 2013, he turned to look at me. "I think if we'd started talking then, it wouldn't have worked. I was engaged to someone else. You were in a different place. We both had growing to do. Maybe we needed those 11 years. Maybe we needed to become the people we are now before we could recognize each other." I wanted to believe that. I wanted to believe there was a reason, that fate or the universe or whatever you want to call it had a plan, and that plan required us to wait. But I couldn't help thinking, what if I'd just taken my headphones out? Daniel and I have been together for a year now. We're talking about moving in together, about building a life, about all those things I'd stopped believing were possible for me. And it's wonderful, it really is, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about those 11 years we lost. I think about all the mornings we were on the same train and never saw each other. All the years we were both lonely, both searching, both 3 feet away from the answer and looking in completely different directions. I think about the Claire from 2013, 26 years old, headphones in, convinced she had everything under control, and I want to shake her. I want to tell her, take the headphones out. Look at the person next to you, say something, anything. But I can't, and maybe that's the point. Here's what I've learned: timing is everything, but it's also nothing. Yes, Daniel and I found each other. Yes, it feels like fate or kismet or whatever you want to call it. But we also lost 11 years because I was too closed off to recognize a chance when it was sitting right next to me. Both things are true: the magic and the loss, the joy and the regret. My therapist says I need to forgive myself, that the person I was in 2013 was doing the best she could with the tools she had. And maybe that's true. Maybe I needed those 11 years of failed relationships and growing loneliness to become someone who could appreciate what I have now. But I also think we tell ourselves these stories to make the loss hurt less. We say everything happens for a reason because it's easier than admitting we made choices that cost us, that we were scared, that we let good things slip away because we weren't paying attention. What if there's no grand plan? What if that morning in 2013 was just a moment, one of thousands that could have changed everything, and I missed it because I was too busy being fine? Daniel doesn't see it that way. He says the 11 years don't matter because we found each other eventually. We're here now, he tells me. That's what counts. And he's right, he is. We are here now, and it's beautiful. But sometimes, late at night when he's asleep next to me and I'm lying awake, I let myself imagine the other version. The one where 26-year-old Claire takes her headphones out, where she smiles at the nervous stranger and says, "First day, that's exciting. What do you do?" I imagine us talking for those 4 stops, exchanging numbers, getting coffee that week instead of 11 years later. I imagine what those years could have been, the memories we could have made, the time we could have had. I imagine not being lonely. And then I stop, because that road leads nowhere good. You can't live in the past and the present at the same time. I'm telling you this story because I think a lot of us are walking around with our headphones in, metaphorically speaking. We're so focused on where we're going, the next meeting, the next obligation, the next thing on our to-do list, that we miss what's happening right in front of us. The person sitting next to us on the train, the conversation we could have, the connection that might change everything. And here's the thing: sometimes you get a second chance. Sometimes the universe, or fate, or coincidence, or whatever, gives you another shot at the thing you missed. But sometimes it doesn't. I got lucky. 11 years later, on a crowded train car, I got a second chance. And this time I didn't waste it. This time I looked up, I spoke, I took the risk. But I can't stop thinking about all the other strangers I've ignored, all the other conversations I've avoided, all the other moments that might have been important, but I was too distracted or too scared or too fine to notice. How many of those moments do we each get in a lifetime, and how many do we miss? So here's what I want you to think about. Is there someone in your life, or someone who passed through your life, that you dismissed? Someone you didn't give a chance because the timing was wrong, or you were too closed off, or you were too busy being fine? Maybe they're still out there. Maybe it's not too late. Maybe the universe will give you a second chance the way it gave me one. But maybe it won't. Maybe that moment was your only chance, and it's gone now. Daniel tells me I shouldn't torture myself with what-ifs, and he's probably right, but I think there's value in asking the question anyway. Because next time a stranger tries to talk to you, next time someone extends a hand, next time there's a moment of possible connection, maybe you'll take your headphones out. Maybe you won't miss it. If this story made you think about someone you let slip away, or if it reminded you to stay present, to look up, to be open to connection, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment below. Tell me, have you ever had a second chance encounter like this? Or is there someone you wish you'd given a chance to? And where are you watching from? I'll shout out some of you in Friday's story. If you're new to Johnson's Echoes, welcome. This is where we tell stories about the moments that change everything, the choices we make, the chances we miss, and the wisdom we find when life surprises us. Hit subscribe if you want more stories like this. And if this one resonated, share it with someone who needs the reminder to look up from their phone once in a while. You never know who might be sitting next to you. New stories every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I'll see you Friday. Until then, remember, the person you're looking for might already be right next to you. You just have to look up.